So, we have been doing a lot of different podcasts over the last 6-7 months. And we try and capture every single topic. Like we try and kind of keep it different from the one we have done in the past. And I think every second person you speak to, usually the first thing they ask is, भाई धंधा कैसे start करना है? मतलब इसके अलावा somehow I think when you're in start of your journey, you always want to kind of start with a job because it's more like a comfort zone. But जैसे ही once you have kind of worked 3-4 years, 5 years, you're like, dude, I don't want like a manager over my head, or you know what? As we always say, the grass is green on the other side, right? So I think today I don't think we have met before, and I think the good thing is, if we haven't met before, I don't know too much, so it's going to be a kind of a learning curve for me, as well as kind of trying to understand what you've been doing. So we have somebody who's come to Ireland as a student, and then kind of transition into being a founder of a startup. Now I don't know if I say startup these days, people get offended because everybody wants like an AI startup somehow in front of that startup thing, right? So Deepak, welcome to the Pankaj Show.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. I think you're right. Everyone that I talk to either wants to start something of their own because they're too frustrated with their 9 to 5, or they have a bad manager. And it's always so that they always feel कि I can do better than this guy that I'm currently reporting to. And I guess sometimes people do start their own companies. They do start, but always ends up in failure because the only reason that you started your company is because you are frustrated with your manager.
It's not because you have a great idea.
It's not because you have a great idea. Like you want to achieve something, you want to prove someone that means nothing to you. But at that point of time, you think that guy means a lot to you. The manager बहुत बड़ा, I don't know, he's either micromanaging, I can do this better than him, follows him, all the ideas that I have pitched to him about something while working in a company X, right, just went nowhere. तो मैं अपना खुद का कुछ कर लूँगा. That's what I've seen.
So like when people say people don't leave companies, they leave managers.
People don't leave companies, they leave managers. And sometimes people also misunderstand that whole thing for नहीं मेरे को खुद का कुछ करना है. But there are genuine people that want to do something of their own.
Like they have good ideas and they are ambitious. We'll kind of talk about how it's I think the main issue, right, with people is, especially when you're an immigrant, right, you have taken a loan to come here as a student, you have to pay that off, then you also have your 3,000, 4,000, whatever your salary is, right, if you're working and if you have a critical skill, then obviously you're making that 3,000, 4,000. To not get that at the end of the month and be able to go out, so I think a lot of people, what they do is they start with something small, like do it on the side part-time, and when they feel comfortable, then they leave their comfort or their full-time job. But what I've also found is it just sometimes doesn't work, because when you're not like fully committed to your business, because you in the back of your mind, look, even if my business fails, at least I've got something to fall back on. And then some people would say, or some people would say, you know what, I'm just gonna focus completely on my business without thinking, and if I fail, then I go back to my full-time. So maybe just share your journey. Did you have like a hybrid model, or was it always like one or the other?
I was lucky in a few different ways. It depends on how you look at it. So I'll share a bit about how it all started.
Maybe why don't you start, when did you come to Ireland?
Right.
What did you study?
Right.
And was it always like you knew what you were going to study, or was it just kind of happened in a way that it was just a coincidence that you selected that course?
Now that you ask me about it, I'd like to take a step back.
Okay.
So I did my undergrad from India, started doing my masters as well in India.
Okay.
I started. 6 months in, I realized this isn't working out for me, because the notion in India is कि masters चाहिए ही चाहिए for you to get a job is so wrong, right? I realize that. But at the same time, I want to get a master's not because I want to get a job, I want to get a better job, or I want to get a head start of somebody else.
It's just because of society. What will they say? This person doesn't even have masters. All my cousins has masters.
Yeah,
right?
I suppose there is that very bad element in India that's going around कि सबके पास है. Look at Pankaj, look at Nitesh, look at everyone. Like they've done their masters, and you're telling me you're gonna stop at your undergrad.
Yeah. It's a taboo.
It's a taboo. Yeah, it's something that you like. It's totally a bad thing in India, but it's not, right? So, but I personally want to get one. I want to purely from a perspective. I've been lucky to come out of really good colleges with like really good staff or the departments or my peers that were with me. I've had a fantastic 3-year experience in my undergrad. I want to have a bit of it more. But I went to my next college, which I thought was better than the previous college. It wasn't. 6 months in, I realized, took me some guts, took me 3 months to say, okay, this is over, this is done, I'm going to quit this. But within the first 9 months, I did quit, but masters to fir bhi karna. I still want to do it. I was doing my masters. While I was doing my masters, it didn't really work out because masters in India is not really intense. It's just associated with the whole thing that, right, need to get a master's to get somewhere. Which is obviously not true. And I started preparing for, or even like thinking about, right, I want to do masters, that's all I knew. I had to get into a really good college, a public university in India like IITs or NITs. The sort of entrance exam, sort of the headache that is to even prepare for it is something that I was not up for. And when I was figuring out the study abroad thing for my friend, I thought I saw like this is actually way easier than doing something in India, getting a better college. And plus now my scope or I don't have a limitation of ki chalo, if I go into this college, this and this is what I'll be learned. When your scope is the whole world, you can pick any country where you want to do the thing that you're interested in.
All you need is you were looking for label to be that you have masters, or you didn't have any specific interest in search of that I want to do in certain field. I want to be going into that area after completing my masters.
No, I think I might have gone wrong, but I've worked for a few companies, did some internship while I was doing my bachelor's.
Okay, in India.
In India.
Okay.
I worked for startups all my life.
Okay.
While I was doing my bachelor's there, I was also working side by side. Working in various startups. But my first ever job, a proper job, was in a startup as an Android developer.
Okay.
And that startup was incubated by Microsoft.
Okay, very nice. Very nice.
That is the first time I ever.
Did you not get shares at that time for that company?
I did.
Oh, you did?
The company lasted for 8 months.
Okay. Why after they got incubated, they completely shut that company off the market?
Yeah, because when they get incubated, they get some funds.
Yeah.
And if you don't utilize the funds well, it's a ticking time bomb. It's a ticking time bomb. You only have certain time. After which, if you can't raise funds, you can't raise funds.
True.
You have to shut everything down. So that's what I was. But I learned what a startup is. I learned how intense it is. But I absolutely loved it. And then next year, summertime, summer vacations, whatever, I would just go doing internships and learning about how these startups work, being a developer in one of the companies. Without any degree.
Okay.
Right? But I was not ready for a full-time job yet. My main was to, alright, if I do a master's, I'll have more time now to do a job side by side and intern at a startup and figuring out what the heck this really is. I somehow got inculcated in this culture of startups.
Okay.
And it was just an adrenaline rush every single day. Every single day.
Just because the pressure is quite a lot.
The
when you're working for a
The pressure is a lot.
But then you get recognized very fast as well because there are CEOs or VPs of engineering who are actually watching your work.
Working directly with them. And also, you get humbled so fast that what you know today won't be enough for the next 30 seconds.
Okay,
You're learning constantly,
yeah.
You're on the go. And
True.
that adrenaline rush is what kept me sort of going towards it. And that's why I wanted to get a master's. I was not confident yet to get into like a full-time role. I wanted to do internships and figure out what is the domain I want to really be in. And doing a master's is literally just buying additional time.
Yeah. But while you were doing your masters, you were still working?
I was still working.
You were still working, okay.
While doing my masters there, I was still working. I actually start my something of my own, contracting for a Qatar-based company.
Okay.
And as students, you're making छाप रहे थे पैसा,
right? उस टाइम तो कुछ भी आ जाए वो more than enough होता है.
So छाप रहे थे.
Expectations नहीं होती ना उस time.
But 6 months down the line, I realized कि ये college ना ये बहुत simple. These are really easy things. I don't really need to pay for this. I don't really need to be here. क्योंकि हम जो कर रहे थे ना उस time पे, that would never be taught in college. That would never be taught in college, and that was way better and way higher than what we were being taught in college. मेरे को अभी 3 साल का ये masters करना ही नहीं था. So I had
3 years masters.
It was 3 year masters. MCA जो होता है ना बैंगलोर में, certain universities they do 3 years.
They just want to print more money during those 3 years.
Exactly.
Like how would you be doing the same masters everywhere else for 2 years or 1 year?
1 year. यहाँ पे 3 साल में सिखा रहे हैं.
Ireland में तो 8 महीने में.
Exactly. Right? So I'm like कि नहीं करना, तो मैंने जाके बोल दिया कि नहीं करना, मैं जा रहा हूँ कल से. तो ठीक है, आ गया निकल के. But I want to do it, but I didn't want to do it in computer science. My entire life I've been studying computer science, working on it. I want to challenge myself, push my boundaries a little bit. I thought, let me do something that is out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
No matter where I go, studying computer science, Stanford ho, idhar ho, obviously, that's a bit exaggerated, but I lose interest very quickly क्योंकि ये सब पता है already. इसके लिए मेरे को college नहीं आना पड़ा. I want to do a bit of computer science for fun, but at the same time I need something that I'm not that really good at, which was at that point thinking about it was mathematics.
Okay. Now it's going to be very interesting about the course you picked.
The course. So I went for a data science masters, applied for multiple universities, looked at the syllabus, but one place that really caught my interest, where it was more of mathematics than computer science.
Okay.
Was University of, it was called National University of Ireland, Maynooth at that point.
Okay.
Now it's called Maynooth University.
Maynooth University, yeah.
But I don't know what it's called today.
Okay.
All these universities are keep changing their names.
Yeah. No, I think it is Maynooth University.
It's Maynooth University.
Yeah.
I had a fantastic experience there. I had my fair share of fun while I was doing that. But at the same time, I was also working for my side projects in Qatar.
Okay, so you always had your funding coming through that you then using the funds towards your studies.
Not being able to sustain.
Yeah.
But I was. I definitely had support from my parents.
Okay.
Loan भी था. जिसको अभी भर दिया. Loan भी था. But that was there. Masters हो गया. Now it's full-time serious नौकरी. ये हो गया. That's the point when I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna go apply. But the reality back in 2017-18, the reality of Ireland was not as many startups. And I could not for the life of me apply for a corporate.
Okay.
No matter how much they were paying me.
Yeah.
So there were very few startups and you couldn't get into them.
Okay. Just because of why you think you couldn't get into the startup? Because
there was no good funding available for them. Like they couldn't hire people that they really wanted. So that is what I figured out. So ठीक है अभी रोजी रोटी कमाना है तो
you have to go and work somewhere to be able to sustain, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I applied for a few companies, got a data scientist role in Accenture.
Okay.
Accept contract सब sign कर दिया, but जिस दिन join होना था उस दिन गया ही नहीं.
Okay.
बोला कि
that takes a gut, man. Because this is like your first job out of your college, and all you're looking for is like that experience to be on your CV, so you can actually use that, then to hop on to the next company.
Correct.
And you didn't go.
उन लोगों ने सब बोल दिया था कि as soon as you get in, your probation done, you're gonna apply for your critical skills and all that.
Okay.
But थोड़ा सोचा, slept that night and decided not to go to work next morning. Email कर दिया कि नहीं आना मेरे को.
I don't think you're setting a very good example for people watching. I think,
not.
But it will get into it. I think it will get interesting. Yes.
Email कर दिया कि sorry ऐसा ऐसा है नहीं आ पाएंगे. Don't get me wrong, but I haven't accepted another offer.
Call मत करना, मैं किसी की नहीं सुनूंगा. Decide कर लिया है मैंने.
सुननी नहीं है.
Please note PS, don't call me.
जाना नहीं था because honestly मेरे को इस environment में मेरे को मालूम है कि एक बार घुस गया from startups to a place where 6 months down the line I'll be very comfortable. Afraid there's no growth.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
I think it's after, what I know is after you actually start working somewhere after your college, and once you have selected your domain, like I've seen people working in the same domain for years and years and been in that corporate where you're getting all your life insurance paid, your health insurance paid, and then if somebody asks you to come and work for a startup, even though it's, you know, you're going to learn a lot more and the learning curve will be much accelerated, you will never do it.
Absolutely.
So yeah, but at that age I don't think कोई सोचता भी है कि मतलब सबको यही होता है कि भाई बस नौकरी मिल जाए. But they are not thinking about startup and all that side of things.
So there was a bit of side hustle. There was this part that was working on bit of side hustles myself. कुछ मतलब
कुछ पैसा आ रहा था मतलब.
पैसा आ रहा था. It was not enough. It was barely enough to pay the rent and buy groceries. ठीक है. Apart from that, if I was not going to do any entertainment or go to a pub or hang out with friends, that money was sufficient.
So you did all your maths already. Like even if I didn't work for this many months, I would be able to sustain the.
No, not this many months. Month to month.
Oh, month to month. Okay, hand to mouth. Yeah.
Month to month.
Yeah.
ठीक है कि I knew कि मेरे को इतना आ रहा है. It's enough to pay my rent.
Yeah.
It's enough to pay a rent of a room where 3 guys were living.
Yeah.
चलेगा.
But that was 2017, right?
Yeah. It was चलेगा. ठीक है. So I did a lot of compromises, but did all that. Those hardships as well. But I didn't want to. I had the balls to say कि नहीं मेरे को नहीं करनी. If I get into the comfort zone, then I'm done. I'm finished for life.
Yeah. But did you like speak to your friends or family and say, or even your family को तूने बताया भी नहीं कि मतलब ये चल रहा है ऐसा?
नहीं बोला था कि join कर ली थी.
अच्छा join कर लिया, झूठ बोला था मतलब.
बोलना पड़ता है कभी.
हाँ नहीं बोलना नहीं पड़ता. But these are like the things now you can recall and say कि you know I've done this and
Correct.
I lied to you but there was a reason.
Correct.
And now they'll be much more acceptable. But अगर अभी कुछ नहीं हुआ होता ना तो जो गालियाँ पड़ती कि भाई पिछले ऐसा नहीं हुआ था. People only look at like when you become something then say तूने अच्छा किया था.
कट करना ये सब.
नहीं अच्छा.
नहीं just मजाक. माँ बाप को नहीं मालूम आज तक.
अच्छा.
हाँ. But
I think maybe this will be the good way then to communicate. You're not communicating directly.
नहीं.
Through this.
आज तक बताया नहीं कि but at some point कभी तो बताना है. But ठीक है मतलब बताने में अभी हिम्मत है कि अब बोल सकते. अब तो हो गया अभी.
अब तो शादी भी हो गई. अभी क्या छुपाने का. और अभी तो इंडिया में भी नहीं रहते जो आके सामने कुछ बोलेंगे. But anyway, yeah, let's carry on.
Correct. No, they wouldn't mind. My dad's always for कि ले तू.
Yeah. Take risk.
Take risk. ये हुआ फिर. But what I was doing, I wasn't being a lazy bum and lazing around कि नहीं मेरे को नहीं. I was constantly applying for startups.
Okay.
कुछ भी करना था घुसना था startup.
Okay.
So I did apply and एक आया call.
Okay.
कि okay I need this but we can't pay you as much as the market rate. वो चलेगा. दौड़ेगा. मेरे को नहीं चाहिए. तो घुसा startup में.
Which was the startup?
So the startup was called Bamboo. Yeah.
I've heard of Bamboo, or maybe it was a startup that time, but they have kind of come from small company to a medium company now, or
no, they shut down completely.
Oh, they shut down completely.
Okay. It got liquidated.
Okay. But I heard the name. Maybe I heard it because it got liquidated.
There are a few Bamboos.
So, if you were to look back retrospectively, do you think, like, if somebody is coming out of college, would you still think startup is an area that somebody should go for over corporate?
I think we are in times when if you say someone कि ये वाला ना इसका startup है, ठीक है, everyone looks up to you, but there's nothing to look up to. उस बंदे का problems अलग है. Like it's not कि मेरे को अपना खुद का business करना है, तुम business करो. But is it a startup? What exactly is a startup? Right? There's a difference between being an entrepreneur and a businessman. Right? So, do you want to get into this journey at all? If you do, don't get into it. Start by learning from others. Be there. Look at what all the hardships you come across. एक दो स्टार्टअप में काम करो, कम से कम 1 साल तो करो.
Then at least you know like what challenges that the person who has started is facing.
Or
Because you're working so closely with them.
As an employee, because as an employee in a startup, you also get an equity. You get also ESOPs, na? You're not looking at the startup as a कि नहीं मैं नौकरी कर रहा हूँ, मेरे को month to month salary मिल रहा है. अगर if you were to do it, you wouldn't work for a startup. You'd go for a stable job. If you really got the appetite, right? You would then sort of take a little bit of risk. Wouldn't start your own. Join somebody else they've started. You're getting month to month salary. एक दिन bankrupt हो जाएगा या I mean if it goes well, fantastic.
Yes.
If it doesn't, then fine. You've not lost anything.
You've only just acquired skills, or you have learned how to kind of navigate through that startup ecosystem.
Absolutely. आज भी ना, if the position that I'm in, if I'm hiring someone, I'd rather hire someone with 2 years of startup experience than 6 years of corporate experience.
Corporate experience, yes.
Because the pace of learning at startups is so much. It's unbelievable, and I love that about startups.
Because you're not going into an organization where their processes are set, there is a HR.
Nothing.
Whereas you're going into a startup where they may not even have an office.
Nothing.
Where they don't even have an HR, where you don't even know like how to approach a customer. You're creating everything. So you yourself is an entrepreneur in a way for your own function.
Absolutely. If you join a startup today as an engineer, as a customer support, anything, you are definitely first of all, I think आप अपने entrepreneurship के journey में first step ले चुके हैं. Right? That's absolutely, that's a must. And second, you're learning a lot. And you're not just learning about, अगर आप marketing में, you're not just learning about yourself. You're learning about product. You're learning about engineering, you're learning about sales, you're learning about customer success. क्योंकि अगर customer success में एक बंदा है, अगर कल वो छुट्टी पे है तो आपको ही करना पड़ेगा.
सब कुछ करना पड़ेगा.
So I've done that. I've done a few things. I've picked a few calls. मेरे को करना पड़ता है. I've replied to a few intercom messages. So getting into that startup, it's a different thing. But when I did take that move, and I did do that move and join this startup, Tuesday को join किया था, याद है मेरे को.
But how long after you didn't accept that Accenture offer? How long did it take you from that time to landing up?
October to January.
So 4 months.
PUBG खेला, खूब PUBG खेला,
और I think as long as you're keeping yourself occupied, doing something, then your sanity is there. Otherwise, what used to happen is, if you're not doing anything in the meantime, you lose sanity. Or the second thing, what I've realized, and maybe you can shed more light, that when you're even going for an interview, you're showing your desperation that I need that job.
Exactly.
And then it becomes more difficult to get that startup job, even because you have nothing to fall back on.
Exactly. And you're 100% right there. Now, I might not have said the whole truth here, but it wasn't
like... मेरा काम है निकलवाना.
Exactly. I did apply for other companies. I interviewed. I had offers. Even after I didn't go to Accenture, बीच में करता था, interview देता था. I had offers from companies that I'm like, अरे इस company में अगर मतलब मिल गया ना तो जिंदगी set है. I would never leave. I had offers from those kind of companies as well.
Okay.
But that also gives you a bit of support कि चलो offer है, मिल रहा है, ऐसा नहीं. I mean, it's not that I can keep that offer waiting for a month. But I know कि मिल रहा, आ रहा है offer, तो कुछ तो है कि आएगा.
Market was very fast at that time. It was 17, 18, it was just going through the roof.
It was.
Because I know, because I have started working for somebody, 2017 to 19, you can't find people to work for you. It was such a scarcity of skilled resources.
Absolutely. तब तो था, तो that I had realized that, and तब तो okay, I can take a bit of calculated risk here, so I'll wait. ये startup पे मिल गया था, I was getting 20-30,000 less than what I would get in other companies, but मेरे को घुसना था, घुस गया. Tuesday को join किया, Friday को CEO meeting बुलाता है और बोलता है कि our funding has been
discontinued.
अपन को नहीं मिलेगा. The investor has no confidence in us, or is making us.
What? No.
Friday को, Tuesday to Friday. But Tuesday to Friday ना मेरे को उन लोगों ने इतना, मैं इंजीनियर घुसा मैं, but मेरे को as a engineering या anything about coding मेरे से बात ही नहीं की किसी ने. Everybody was like, चल मैं बताता हूँ product क्या. I'll tell you what has worked, what has not worked. I'll take you to restaurants. Let's go to restaurant. Let's see how it all works.
Okay.
तो 4 दिन ना मैं उसी में था, 3 दिन उसी में था. चौथा दिन फ्राइडे को बोला कि अपने पास एक हफ्ते का फंडिंग है अभी.
नहीं.
उसके बाद हम नहीं.
But how are you even showing interest working there? Like even if they have already told you, like you're probably disinterested.
इसी में तो आता है ना इंटरेस्ट, इसी में तो
अच्छा, मतलब ऐसा तो नहीं था कि अब मैं खड़ी करता हूँ, तू सीईओ तू साइड में बैठ, अभी मैं आगे आऊँ, सब ठीक हो जाएगा.
नहीं, इतना नहीं है, नहीं, इतना कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं रहता. तो मैंने बोला ठीक है चलो, अपन तो वैसे भी वेले थे, घर पे बैठे थे. अब ठीक है, मेरे को प्रोडक्ट बहुत पसंद है, लोग बहुत पसंद है, मैं तो फ्री के लिए काम करूँगा ऐसे ऐसे. बट वैसे यहाँ पे कोई करता नहीं. बट एनीवेज थिंग्स टुक अ टर्न. एवरीबडी इज लाइक विल सी व्हाट हैपेंस. सारे जो लोग थे ना बोला कि नोबडी देयर एट दैट पॉइंट वाज कि हम लिंक्डइन पे जाऊंगा, प्रोफाइल अपडेट करूंगा. एवरीबडी इज लाइक ऑन द बॉल टू फिगर आउट कि अब क्या करना है, हाउ कैन वी डू. पैसे नहीं है बट बिना पैसे के भी कैसे करना, व्हाट डू यू पिवट, व्हाट डू यू डू, व्हाट डू यू चेंज, कहाँ से क्या लेके आए, कनेक्शंस, ये वो सब कुछ. एवरीवन केम फ्रॉम दैट माइंडसेट एंड दैट वर्किंग इन दैट एटमॉस्फेयर ना, कि मालूम पड़ता है कि कुछ भी आ जाना जिंदगी में कि डोंट थिंक अबाउट योर नेक्स्ट मूव, डोंट थिंक अबाउट योर कि कंप्लीटली अलग करना है, थिंक व्हाट कैन बी डन नाउ.
But it all sounds too good to be true in a way that if there are like hundreds of jobs out there, people can get double the salary. They know the funding is going to stop, but they're still working together. Like it just like maybe you have done it, and I'm not saying that it didn't happen, but it's just something unheard of.
But I definitely know I was barely 21, 22 तभी. लंबा रास्ता था वहाँ से. I was 23, 24 I think. But nobody was dependent on. ठीक है, अपना लोन था, वो भी इंडिया में ज़्यादा बढ़ना नहीं पड़ता. The loan, you got the enough money to pay for the loan. Parents had their, मतलब वो they weren't dependent on me.
Yeah. So you didn't have much commitments.
नहीं,
much commitments.
Only thing that I had to sacrifice was weekend parties. I couldn't afford unless it's at home.
Yes.
That's not a lot to give up. तो किया, but the person, the CEO of that company turned things around.
Okay, very nice.
In a week's time, turned things around. We were back in business.
Okay.
We 8-9 महीने, I think 1.5 years चलाया वो उसके बाद.
Okay, he still pushed to kind of revive the company.
He revived the company. He did a lot of things.
Yeah.
At that point, you got some people to look up to. That person did not give up.
That's kind of your first learning in a way that, you know, somebody who had got the news that the company is going to be shut down, and that person still resurrected the whole thing.
He resurrected the entire company.
Yeah.
We built a lot. We built great products. Built great things. We were fast. It was good. We also learned that sometimes you raise money from the wrong investors.
Yeah.
Now the company went for 1.5 years. COVID hit. Now your delivery business worked, but your collection businesses, there's nobody on the streets. Who's collecting what? Restaurants are closed for collection.
True.
Right?
So the business model wasn't apt for the COVID period, right?
Nobody.
And nobody foresee it either,
No.
right?
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. But what happened then was, we knew at this point it was over. No much money left. You can't pivot at this point. Everyone has to part ways. But the CEO made sure that his first sort of instinct at that point is, how do I make sure these people that worked with me for so long
are not high and dry. Yeah.
Reached out to every connection of his that he had made over the course.
Oh, amazing.
Nobody was left without a job.
So he had made sure that somebody had like taken you from the role you're in into this new org.
Correct.
Okay, amazing.
And I joined another company that was a 30-40 person, again startup.
Okay.
It was very clear.
You're just not getting away from it, right?
No, not.
Okay.
This time maybe a little less.
You hate corporates, or you hate corporates?
I hate it in the.
But what if Kota becomes corporate, which will come?
I don't think so. I don't think there's any startup, any venture-backed startup today has become a corporate.
Oh, is it?
I don't think so. Like take Zerodha. Zerodha is not venture-backed.
Yeah.
Let's take Stripe for example.
Yeah.
They were venture-backed. They're massive.
Yeah.
They're massive. 50, 60, 70 billion. Their culture still startup driven. Like they still have that hunger. Everybody's moving fast.
Yeah.
Nobody's waiting for this bureaucracy or anything.
Yeah.
fingers crossed. I don't think Kota will ever be that. Company where you'll have that corporate structure and the bureaucracy that comes with it. And we be slow. The CEO and I were, my previous CEO, the founder,
Bamboo.
From Bamboo at Bamboo. We ended up to be in the same a year and a half later. We ended up being in the same apartment complex or the block.
Okay.
So we were like, okay, back in touch again, etc. At which point he had already become the CEO or the general manager for Bolt Ireland. He had brought Bolt. He had set up the team, talking to taxi drivers, bringing taxi drivers to Bolt. He was doing all those things. And I was in a company that went from 40-50 people company to a 280 people company in a span of a year and a half.
Which company was that?
It was a startup called Flipdish.
I've heard Flipdish. I think they're doing amazingly well still.
You'll probably see that logo outside.
Flipdish is where you kind of bring all the delivery platforms into like a consolidate into one platform rather than.
No, it's the opposite. It's the exact opposite. So what they do is delivery platforms today, Just Eat, Uber Eats, Deliveroo, they list all the restaurants, Warburger, Elephant and Castle, McDonald's, KFC in one platform. Take 30% cut. What Flipdish does is exactly opposite. They're not aggregators. What they do is you come sign up to the platform, upload your menu, they give your own website where people can order directly.
And they take a very small part of the commission. Now I know which one you're talking about. Right.
They handle your KDS, your kiosks, all those different
But
things.
I think the orders only you get through that website, they take a part of it, right?
But what they also did is now they started doing,
But anyway, let's start,
There's that. I was working there. When Flipdish, I saw the company going from 30-40% company to like a 280% company, and every week we'd have 2-3 people hired. And during COVID, this boomed, right? And I was seeing, and this is the very first time I was seeing
a growth in a
growth. None of the startups that I worked in had this sort of growth. And I've seen failures everywhere. Never seen a success story. This point I'm seeing the company is growing at such rapid pace that the people that you met when you joined
were gone.
They were in other corner of the company. I could not see them. The company had grown rapidly. I'm like, fantastic. The company has grown rapidly. Company has got funding. It raised its unicorn round. It raised 100 million. At this point,
how much?
100 million.
100 million. Was it a Irish startup?
It's an Irish startup.
100 million.
100 million.
I've never heard an Irish company raising.
No. There are a lot of companies.
There are a lot of companies raising.
Not lot, but it's not unheard of.
Fair number,
It's good handful of companies. Not lot, but handful of companies. Now, seeing that, the HR in that company announces ki on their January budget comes out and they say ki this is the plan for this year. The CEO pitches his plans for the whole company, SSI. And we're going to have career ladders, we're going to invest in people's growth, etc. At the same time, we're going to invest in health insurance pensions.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, great, fantastic. That was announced in January. They said we'll have health insurance pensions by next month. Comes August.
You still didn't have it.
Health insurance, health insurance is now set up.
Okay.
With a very bad experience.
Okay.
Where the broker talks to you, broker explains you this, and broker explains you that. No one's got time for that. I send you a link, you go sign up there and you set up your health insurance, whatever. Every one of us, right, except for the C-suite and the management maybe, got the exact same plan. There's no asking. देखो कौन सा plan चाहिए, देखो कौन सा ये plan चाहिए, वो plan.
You don't have like a customized package.
Everyone gets the exact same plan. ठीक है. Everyone, it's pretty much like a mess.
तो अच्छा लगना चाहिए ना कि सब CEO को भी वही मिल रहा है, मुझे भी वही मिल रहा है. CEO को
CEO probably got something else. CEO probably got something else.
सही है.
ये CEO के sign off के बिना वो broker आएगा नहीं ना.
True.
तो वहाँ पे negotiation चलेगा. ठीक है, हेल्थ इंश्योरेंस मिलेगा ना और यू डोंट हैव टू पे. वो IRP के लिए चाहिए होता ना अपने इंडियन.
True.
तो that I don't have to do anymore. Company is paying for it. Fantastic. Pension. 8-9 months later, first person, अगर आपका नाम है ईफा and it starts from A, you're gonna get that application form sent to वो pension का भरना पड़ेगा पूरा है उसमें वो broker 1-to-1 करेगा ऐसे ना 200-100 लोग जो आयरलैंड में हो उनको करने में ना time लगेगा unlimited कैसे how do you scale this
yes
बोला साला कुछ तो है यहाँ पे why is this happening and why are we frustrated क्यों I was waiting for pension actually
okay
I was badly waiting for pension कब आएगा when do I start to contribute कब tax बचाए कब क्या करें
true
my turn never came so I'm like kuch to and I was talking to Luke who's the CEO of Bamboo the founder of Bamboo who is with me
who's now the general manager of Bolt
who's the general manager of Bolt and he said कि देख यार मैं भी सेटअप कर रहा हूँ Bolt के लिए health insurance pension I have no idea where to start because Bolt in Ireland is not as big as the rest of in Europe they're starting with a smaller team which is again like a startup and no broker wants to talk to you. No insurance company wants to directly talk to you.
Because you're at such a small level.
You're such a small scale.
Yeah.
We figured there's an underserved market here.
Yeah.
That market's so big. One that the market, those companies like even our company or a smaller company could not figure out how to get started with health insurance pension. It's not expensive for the company.
No, because they're going to be using it as an expense anyway. So
no, it's going to be used as expensive. They get some tax back. अगर किसी बंदे को you're paying 35,000 in the minimum salary.
Yeah.
If you're adding 1,200 extra on top of that for health insurance to secure his health and his life, अगर उसको कुछ हो जाए, I mean, it's nothing.
It's right? Nothing. Plus, you get the loyalty of that employee as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Pension, you're saving towards his future.
Yeah.
You're enabling that person to, save on the taxes.
Yeah.
Contribute invest a bit into that. कुछ था ही नहीं तभी. There was no way you had to get a broker.
Yeah.
You had to get a broker. And I'm not saying retail.
Yeah.
Retail में आपको आज भी मिल सकता है कि okay आपको pension setup करना है, आपको life setup करना है, आपको health setup करना है.
But somebody who wants to do it at a large scale.
At a corporate.
At a medium scale.
क्योंकि retail brokers and corporate जो आते हैं ना they अलग-अलग. They function differently. यहाँ पे एक scheme होता है where you're enrolled, right, for the tax benefits. Those are different.
Yeah.
So we saw this problem. We both saw it, and we couldn't stop talking about it.
Okay. You got passionate about it, like you got excited about it.
क्यों 8-9-10 महीने क्यों चाहिए इसको सेटअप करने? Like what is going on? We went on a hunt.
Okay.
October start किया हमने कि thinking about it excessively. October start किया me, Luke, Patrick, जो मेरा co-founder है.
But how did Patrick come into pitching?
Patrick was also working with us in Bamboo. Patrick was later also playing a very crucial role in Bamboo. He had later taken over as a CTO.
Okay, in Bamboo itself.
In Bamboo itself.
Very nice.
And Patrick, before that, he had the previous company that he had started was acquired by another fintech. So he's got this fintech experience.
Very good.
He comes from a bit of regulatory background. उसको मालूम है क्या कर सकते हैं, क्या नहीं कर सकते.
सही है.
All that. So the three of us, and he was contracting at that time.
Okay.
He also couldn't set up a individual director's pension or like health insurance on a scheme that would give a bit of discount and also have tax savings.
Yeah.
You couldn't set up a one-man scheme as a contractor. How do you do it?
No, you can't do it.
So the problem that we worked on is something that we faced first time. It wasn't a problem. It wasn't a solution trying to find a problem. Something that we've seen firsthand, knew there's a massive opportunity. October we spent understanding, researching the market.
Okay.
The entire October, and when you're doing all these things, now we still had our full-time jobs.
Yeah.
When you're doing this side by side, one advice or one thing I would say is ego na side pe rakho. Ego gaya bhaad mein. Don't be shy. Try and reach out to anyone possible. Investment के लिए नहीं, funding के लिए नहीं, but to try and make connections with anyone that knows a bit about this. Why is it taking so long? Why is it so difficult? So
it's like doing a survey with other companies. If they're trying to implement this strategy in the company where they're giving benefits.
Absolutely.
Why haven't they been able to do it? So it's a very simple question you can ask. And if they're in pain, they'll tell you all about their life. Because anybody who's in pain, they just want to rant about it.
Absolutely. And to start with, I had my own HR.
I
had my own HR, right? That's where I started, and we also were shamelessly shopping around for connections.
Okay.
And connections not in, a VC or an angel investment or whatever. Connection in insurance and trying to get to a broker or someone who's a manager in the insurance, someone who's in operations ki why is this happening? And ऐसे करते करते ना हमको मालूम ही नहीं पड़ा कि कब तक हम एक्सा के सीईओ तक पहुंच गए थे.
ओके.
और बहुत सारे जो ऐसे सीईओ से आयरलैंड में जो इंश्योरेंस बिजनेस में, इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज में, आयरिश लाइफ हो गया, ऑल दैट, टॉकिंग टू देम एंड कनेक्ट चेन ऑल द वे.
But were they even like, they must have been getting like, so it probably be good for the audience who's listening. So sometimes you think, you can't approach somebody, a senior exec. Why would he answer your query or listen to you? Like, did you have to pitch your idea to these people, or you were just saying, look, we are trying to solve this problem. Do you think this is going to work?
No,
so how was it? Was it just cold email to these people, or
no? You can't. You like cold email or otherwise, you still cannot reach out to these people because who are you?
Yeah, exactly. Like, what's your credibility behind?
What's your credibility?
Yeah.
Credibility is the key part, right? So you can't directly go to the CEO. Well, you know the way they say, if you want to know one person to another, there's only 7 people difference between you. So you just need to figure out
who the 7 people between you and that
exactly.
person.
Exactly. So we would talk to person to person to person.
Okay.
Every time we talk to someone, we are so passionate about a problem. We don't ask for the next connection. They themselves naturally end up saying, actually, you know what? You should talk to this guy.
But this is already a boost, because if these people are getting you connected to somebody, they know you're not talking shit. Like, you have a value proposition that's going to work.
No, absolutely. It's a bit of validation.
Yeah.
कि चलो मतलब अगर तू बोल रहा है, I'm comfortable connecting you with this next guy.
Because that person's credibility is on line itself, right?
Exactly. That's the core of it. Like, if you are not bullshitting, if you're honest, if you surrender, and जो भी बोल रहे हो आप, it's honest and you really want to do it, and that genuinely is a problem.
Yeah.
People will go to any extent
to help
even
you,
to risk their credibility and connect you with the next guy.
Very good.
30 minutes for the coffee. That's enough. 30 minutes or a Google Meet.
Yeah. But when you just to stop you here, like, every time somebody has an idea, right? One everybody is trying to do is preserve that idea, thinking that if the other person knows the idea, they might steal it off you, or they might actually just tell other people, and that this idea can disperse into a wider public, which, like, people may have thought about it, but you're kind of making it a little more mainstream by discussing it with everybody. So were you careful around, like, who you discuss that with? No.
You're absolutely shameless.
Okay.
You're absolutely shameless in a way that anybody we met, we would talk that.
Okay.
Right?
Very good.
Because someone at some point will tell you it's stupid.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to listen to.
Yeah. You want devil's advocate.
Absolutely. Like, listen, if someone told us कि this won't work, we'll be, acha, okay, all right, tell us why it wouldn't work. Or if someone would
constructive feedback.
Or someone would tell us it would work, I think this is fantastic.
Yeah.
Right? What's your credibility to tell me that this will work? तूने क्या किया है यहाँ पे? Yeah, what do you know of it? You might just tell me कि अच्छा it'll work because तू मेरे को ना खुश देखना चाहता है बस.
But the other side of the thing is, then you're also going off in your head any idea that has gone big and always got rejected. So what do you take? Like, do you take the constructive feedback, or like you know that every idea is a stupid idea until it becomes a success, right?
But yeah, absolutely. But I start by asking, why do you need an idea?
Yeah.
Right? Are you really that kind of person that wants to go follow this entrepreneurship?
Yeah.
Because there are a few things. You have an idea, and I encourage everyone to have an idea and everyone to start. But you don't have to start the same way everybody else does.
Yeah.
Right? You have a full-time job. Look at your circumstance, right? You're a student. You've got a job, fantastic. If you don't want to be there, and if you want to start something of your own, don't start by quitting your job.
Yeah.
Right? Absolutely not required. If you're really passionate about it,
just try it out for first few months and get the feedback.
Like, wake up early in the morning.
Yeah.
Spend 2 or 3 hours on your idea. Validating it, researching it, building an MVP.
Yeah.
Building MVP is really easy with ChatGPT and no-code tools today. See if people like it. See if you got one customer out of it, right? Because don't wait for customer. Unless if it's a very complex enough regulatory fintech, yes, you can't just go out there and build it.
Okay.
That's a different story. But
what is MVP? Sorry, just to elaborate on
just a minimum viable product.
Minimum viable product. Okay.
Where you can, if your idea is very simple, and that just doesn't exist yet. You can spend maybe 2 or 3 weekends, sometimes 2 weekends.
Just researching on it and
or even start working on it. It depends on who you are. If you're an operations guy, it might not be the same for you. But I'm a tech guy. I can speak from a tech perspective. I know a lot of people coming here. I suppose your audience as well. A lot come for a tech
background.
Tech background.
But the other thing, like a lot of people who I speak to, they want to have some business, right? It doesn't have to be like a tech business, right? It can be like a grocery shop, it can be a restaurant business, or it can be a tech business. Like sometimes I feel people doesn't really have a passion to become an entrepreneur. It's more like, I know a lot of people who have gone into business and they have done better. Now I should also go into business. Or, you know what, a lot of I want to kind of prove it to somebody that I have started this startup. What mind frame worked for you? Was it like, I know that I need to solve this problem, and you had nothing else going on in my mind that, look, it's going to be a startup, I'm going to just make it big, I'm going to, kind of wear it as a badge of honor and all those things?
Not in a bad way, but for me, like I said, working in a startup gives me adrenaline.
So when did you take the first step then to kind of make that into a real product, or did you start then approaching VC companies? Because maybe I think it'll be good for people to understand that the idea is good and getting a validation is also good. But then you need money to start building. Like the underlying biggest problem is the money, right?
Correct.
Money solves, as they say, money doesn't solve everything, but it solves a lot of things.
Correct. We were lucky and unlucky in a lot of ways. Lucky because the timing sort of all aligned for us very well. And we were not hunting for money. We were on the fortunate side.
Yeah.
Because we were just going on validating our idea, talking to people and people and people. As you speak to people and go up the ladder and talk to better and better people that have connections, they
put you in touch with somebody.
They either put you in touch with someone, or they will gossip about this.
Yeah.
Because if you're excited about your product, that guy will also be excited about the product.
Yeah. He wants to be part of that success.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And now they want to start investing in it. And obviously they're not investors, but they want a part of it.
Yeah.
And because they can't invest a youth sum, they'll try and spread the word, around with other investors.
Okay. So who are they called? Like these people? Like they are just like some high-ranking corporate people who've got connections.
Could be anyone, right?
Could be anybody,
It could
right?
be anyone. Yeah, it could be.
But who was the lucky mascot for you then? Put it this way. Who was the one who actually put you in touch with somebody where you could have got your seed funding?
There were a few. There were definitely a few. I couldn't name one or two. There were a few. But what we did was we never pitched we never wanted to pitch, but we did create a pitch deck.
Okay.
We sort of shared it with people that we were not pitching to, and they sort of shared it in their circle, eventually resulting in investor interest and getting a few bookings. And that was end of 2021. And mind you, end of 2021 was a place where everyone was getting huge funding.
The stock market was at its peak.
The market was good.
Yeah, it was very good.
The market was good.
You had few people you booked in your meeting where you're going to pitch your idea, right?
Yeah, the news spread. The more and more VCs wanted to talk. We actually we were lucky in 2021. The time was so that we had a whiteboard with all the VCs, and it wasn't to kaun paise dega. It was like who to eliminate.
Yeah.
Kisse nahi lena.
Oh, you had that many people approached you.
We were lucky, yes.
But I don't think that would solve a lot of our audience problems. They're looking for people, and you're telling me you're eliminating.
I'm sorry if I'm not being helpful, but it all goes to like, I don't take any credits on this. This is Luke and Patrick, my co-founders, who had previous experience raising funds.
Yeah.
And they've
had connections.
More than connections, it's about they knew who to raise and who not to raise from. They knew when to raise and when not to raise.
But anyway, look, I think. Okay, anyway, let's continue. So, you then had a whiteboard where you're eliminating people who you don't want the funding from. So then you got other people involved, like the investors who you wanted to work with.
Correct.
But for anybody who's watching, a lot of time I get people, dude, I've got the best idea in the world. But then, most of the time, why would I invest in an idea when it's not even a prototype of a product? So was there a problem getting funding just based on an idea, or you had already kind of started building something, or where were you at that stage?
We had a pitch deck.
Is that right?
That's it. We had a pitch deck. We were very clear on the market that we wanted to target, the way we wanted to target it, the problem, and I think it's the team, the timing. Like they say, the 3 T's, right? The total market, the team, and the timing.
Yeah.
I think we had that right. I think in terms of like the team, it was just the 3 of us at that point.
Yeah.
And you would call it the founder market.
Okay.
Just like how you have product market fit.
Yeah.
Your founder market fit. Are these people? Look, you could have the best idea.
Yeah.
Right. You could have a $1 billion idea, but when you go to investors, they're like, "Acha, okay, idea is fantastic." What they don't tell you and what they ask themselves is, after having talked to you for like on over 1 or 2 or 3 sessions, the idea is fantastic, but are you the one that will execute on this?
Yeah.
You could have the best idea, but are you the one that is actually gonna take this to that level?
Yeah. I think the another advantage that you had, the other 2 guys had not only worked in startup, the one guy actually ran a startup and he failed, right? Which is even the best learning you could have by failing, right?
Absolutely.
So you won't make the same mistake again.
No.
So was that the kind of, you think, the trigger point for investors, that the guy had a startup already and let's invest in him, and you had worked in startup? Or what was the real, don't get me wrong, idea is amazing, right?
Correct.
But anybody I speak to, right, I can promise you, this Shark Tank we watch.
Oh yeah.
Ashwini Grover said one thing, right, in that Shark Tank. In India, there are 1.2 billion people, and every person had 2 ideas minimum. At least. So they have 2.4 billion ideas. So how the VC is going to decide? So what I'm trying to understand from you is, from VC's perspective, what is their mindset when they're talking to you? What are the things they're looking at, and how are they deciding that these parameters have been met, now we can work with these guys?
Every VC works differently.
Okay.
I don't think there's one. Every VC works differently. Every VC have their own thesis. Now,
every VCs have their own
thesis.
Okay.
They work differently. They like to work with people that have different mindset. Now, the same VC, a VC might have rejected you not because the idea is bad, or you are bad, or you're not the one that is doing it. It's just because that is not their focus area. If you're going to a VC and asking for money whose focus is purely on fintech,
but it is fintech.
Yeah, it's fintech. I mean, I wish it was. But you're asking him for your startup that is in events management or event booking or I don't know, AI.
Yeah.
That's not their expertise. Why would they give you money and not be able to help you?
Yeah.
Sometimes you're not going to the right people.
Yeah.
What you also need to figure out if you're starting, if you want to reach out to someone,
looking at their own history, where they've invested before.
Correct.
Yeah.
End of the day, what they want to do is they don't want to diversify into, there's this food business, or there is this fintech business. I'll give you a simple example. The VCs that you see, if they're investing in fintech businesses, they will also work with startups that work on KYC automation or KYB automation, because fintech ke liye ye chahiye hota hai.
So they're like complementary products.
Yeah. So that's what they're looking to invest in. They're not looking to distract themselves with, I don't know, space startups or microcontrollers or like some sort of deep tech startup. Unko nahi chahiye.
It's more complex for them to understand, and
Why
if they
would
don't understand it,
they don't have the space for it. They want to complement their investment with each other. And with that, इसमें क्या होता है कि okay, उनका portfolio रहता है ना. There's a fintech company that wants KYC. That VC has already invested in that KYC. If both this company grow, they're growing together. Because they now use each other. So what complements and what they have their expertise in, and that's why Namita Thapar keeps saying expertise.
Yeah.
That's it.
But anyway, so you go to pitch your idea. Was there rejection by few in the start, or was it?
Yes. When we did one of the VCs that we wanted, it wasn't the right timing for them. So there's a time thing as well, right?
Is that one of their excuses, or they were genuinely, they gave you their whole whole background as to why they can't do it? But anyway, just before we do it, what were you looking for? Like, do you had a figure in mind, and you had make a business plan that this is the number of people we'll hire, this is the salary we'll take. So tell people who are actually going to VC, right? We'll come to कि VC रिजेक्ट क्यों करते हैं?
Right.
But भाई वो मतलब उनकी आंखों के आगे नंबर्स ऐसे थोड़ा ना कि कुछ भी बस थ्रो कर दिया कि 10 million दे दो, मैं देख लूंगा, अब प्लान संभाल लूंगा.
No, you're
looking for breakdown of everything.
Oh yes, absolutely. Like you'll have to go in there with something that the VCs and we call data room. So if you Google data room, you'll know what are the data points. Data. So if you go to any, let's say startup schools like Y Combinator. If you go on the website or any big VC index, etc., they have a data room template.
Okay, so they ask you to fill it, and if you don't have all the information, don't come to pitches.
You don't need to go with their own template. But data room it's a good guiding. It's good starting point. कि इसमें for you to get from where you are right now to where you want to be in a year or two, what are the resources that you need, and work backwards from it. मेरे को आज से 2 साल में where do I need to reach? और वहाँ से
go backwards. So how many people you need to build that product to go to that level?
Exactly. Where do you want to be? How long is it going to take? What sort of people in what departments do? Work backwards. Working backwards is the easiest thing. You can get to. And it's absolutely in this land
because you have a goal and you're working backwards.
Correct.
Rather than you're just on a journey and you don't know where this is going to end because this could be an endless road.
Idea is going to get you nowhere. Only a goal is going to get you somewhere.
Very good.
You have an idea.
I think we found a reel.
You found the cover. Idea is going to get you nowhere. The goal is going to get you everywhere. Right. The goal might get you somewhere. Execution is what gets you there.
Exactly. So anyway, so you have this data room, you have this template, whatever template you have populated with all the metrics that they require. You go into a room. What is it like? Panel sitting in front of you, 3 or 4 people, or is that more like a stereotype? You're thinking you're like going in front of board or people who are in board.
ऐसा नहीं होता. जो Shark Tank में होता है.
वो stereotype है वो एकदम.
बहुत stereotype. देखिए, जो Shark Tank होता है ना, वो कौन से चैनल पे आता है? सोनी पे आता है शायद. सोनी पे आता है. Sony क्या? Sony is nothing but Sony Entertainment Television. It's pure entertainment. अगर वैसे नहीं होगा ना,
nobody will watch it.
Nobody will. क्योंकि that was a little more accurate show back in I think 2008, 2009.
Dragon's Den.
Okay. India. That was a little slightly more accurate and more sensible. So that's not one room.
Yeah.
So you're getting on with a partner or an investor from a VC firm, and you're taking them through this is what it is. You don't have to chase them ki, acha, thanks for your call last week, kaisa tha, how is it? If they really liked your idea, they would follow up. As simple as that.
I mean, they are entrepreneurs. They just want to make money.
They
right?
VCs, उनको क्या 1 रुपए का ना 500 करना उनको.
Exactly.
उनको 1 का 2 नहीं करना.
बैंक में उनको कुछ इंटरेस्ट नहीं मिल रहा है.
नहीं.
Better
1 का 2, 1 का 100 नहीं, 1 का 500 करना उनको. उनका वही चलता है.
I think even if you look at it, right, if they invest in like 200 companies, right, and if I say
दो
कंपनी भी काम कर गई,
Success.
उनका पैसा डबल ट्रिपल हो गया. But you need to have guts to get.
Absolutely.
But like
हाँ, क्योंकि अगर सबका लिया तो फाइट करेंगे वो आपस में. नहीं होगा. You can't. Too many chefs in the kitchen. नहीं होगा.
Yeah.
You have to cut that down, and you need a lead investor. You need someone who's following the round.
Yeah.
And you just don't raise from VCs. You will also have to raise from a lot of angels as well. Now that could just be, if you're raising 90% from VCs, you have to keep that 10-20% for the angels, because VCs have connections, angels have local connections.
So maybe just explain it to people, what is the difference between angel funding and VC? So people are clear as to who to approach, and maybe you can also shed a little more light on who to approach in what scenario.
I think it depends on how much money you really need.
Okay.
If you really need only 100 or 200,000, I don't think in today's day and time you would go to a VC, because VC is a much bigger play.
Yeah.
What VCs are trying to do is they are trying to take the pool of money that they have, and VC stands for a venture capital, right?
Yeah.
VC is not a person.
It's a company.
This is a firm.
Yeah.
There are a lot of investors who are just employees of the venture capital firm.
Okay.
Who we call investors. They don't invest their own money.
Yeah.
But they have deep knowledge of business. They've seen product. They've seen companies working, rising and failing.
Yeah.
Right? They're employed, and they're in. They've been in fintech. They've previously been founders of different companies. Angel is someone whose full-time job might not be,
VC. They just got a lot of money sitting around, and they just want to invest in a.
Yeah, and they've probably
company.
had a success from their past investments.
Yeah.
Right. Like we had a investor who invested, I think, about 2 or 3 grand in a company called Intercom.
Yeah. Oh, I know Intercom. Yeah.
Exited with a few hundred thousands.
Yeah, exactly.
And now he's not going to go take that few hundred thousand and go enjoy. Right?
Yeah. He's got that
100,000
adrenaline rush of getting more out, reinvesting.
So VCs are these people that might not actively go hunting for opportunities.
Yeah, but if something comes in front of them, they might
probably write a small check of 5,000 euros, 10,000, 20,000. But they're very important, because if they commit to you, they've got connections. ना? उनके पास कनेक्शन होगा. अगर कोई बंदा तुमको 5,000 देगा, ऐसे नहीं कि वो 5,000 ना 2 लोगों का अगर मिनिमम सैलरी भी ले तो 1 महीने का ही सैलरी होगा. तो वो बंदा क्या करेगा ना, बिफोर ही राइट्स यू द चेक, he'll try, वो सब कुछ कोशिश करेगा कि he'll connect you with this VC, that VC, and these angels will help you get those connections.
That go to VC. Anyway, okay, so you go to VC. You got 3 now who are ready to invest only on the basis of an idea and of your own profile, who you are and where you come from. So do you then quit your job, and how much was the first funding, or is it called seed funding, right? When you have an idea only.
Well, it depends. Seed is something. Seed funding.
Pre-seed.
So there's no rule of thumb what it is. But broadly speaking, if you've no product and if you only have a pitch deck, just like us, let's call it pre-seed.
Yeah, pre-seed.
Right.
So how much did you raise then?
We had.
I think it's public, so you can share.
Yeah,
right?
it's public. We had probably raised a lot of money on a pitch deck.
Very good.
It was a 2.5 million.
Okay.
Right.
That was in 2022.
It was end of 2021, 2022 beginning.
Okay. And you were still all doing your full-time jobs?
No. We had already quit.
Oh, you've already quit at that time.
Yeah.
Okay. Because investors would want to see that you're committed to this idea, right?
That's absolutely right. In the beginning, it's very hard.
Yeah.
You're working 16 hours. Even now, you're not working anything less.
Yeah.
You're committing to a 16-hour day. Least.
Definitely. Yeah. So you got your funding.
Got my funding.
You quit your job after you have worked for a few months for 16 hours.
Who's building 16 hours?
You're still working 16 hours, but who? I think it's the investors who decide who gets what role, or is it decided between yourself? Look,
no, it's because you go in with the role that you know you're good at.
Yeah.
Right? You know you can do that.
But as you said, you can't have 3 chefs in a kitchen, right?
You can't have 3 chefs in the row. So you
need to define roles, and you need to make sure that nobody is conflicting with each other, right? Because then ego plays a very big part, because you're all founders and you're trying to think like I should have an upper hand, the other person is thinking. So you need to have that defined role. And I think investors want to see it as well, that you're very clear on who's doing what, and you're not going to be fighting internally rather than solving a
That's one of the
bigger
first
problem.
questions they ask.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, because a lot of startups fall apart because of that.
Okay.
Right?
So you got the funding, you've got the money now. Did you all go and bought yourself a brand new car at that time with some of it? Or how did you, like, you got this funding on this day, how did you celebrate on that day, or what did you do in the next 30 days, put it this way?
Oh, like buying a car is very far. Like that's pretty much straight to jail card.
Yeah.
Right? No, you'll be in jail. You'll be in jail in 24 hours. No.
Yeah.
Again, we didn't want to do that. Again, jokes aside.
Yeah.
You are at peace. Trust me when I say this. You are at peace when you have not raised money.
Yeah.
The minute you raise money,
now you have expectations from these people.
You have expectations, and it's a ticking time bomb. Your time bomb has started.
Yeah.
And money and time is your worst enemy.
Yeah.
Because you're running out of both.
Yeah.
Because when you not raised money, you have nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
When you raised money, it's a time bomb that's ticking backwards, tick.
You're answerable to somebody now.
You're answerable to someone. Like a board gets formed.
It's like me, dude. Like if I'm giving you my money and if I'm telling you take 100 euros.
Correct.
And if you I can't just see you go around and having holidays, etc. I want you to like grow that 100 euro for me, right? It's So I think it's understandable, right?
Yeah,
chose this name, or how did the name, or what's the background to the name?
कोटा हमने ना बहुत सोचा कि ठीक है एक और चांस मिला नेमिंग का. Yonda is a good name, we love it.
Yeah.
But what is past has to be past. We don't think about it.
But you were not even at that level where you had to shed your, where you have to completely.
Marketing भी बहुत कम ही था.
कुछ भी नहीं.
Nobody knew us.
Yeah.
ऐसा नहीं कि आज सबको मालूम है, but it was still a better position.
मजाक कर रहा हूँ. मेरे को 3000 followers हैं. वो मुझे ही नहीं पहचानते अभी तक.
The next 30 days was get the best people in the country to build this. Who do we need in the next 3 months? Because we know there's a lot to do now.
Yeah.
So talk to the insurers.
Yeah.
Get connections, build trust. Even get them to work with us. Forget working with us. Talk to us.
Yeah.
Why would someone in an insurance company give us time? So there is that hard bit.
That's the biggest challenge, I think.
That's in a regulatory space, that is the biggest challenge.
Because I'll tell you, I've also just started talking to few banks about certain things that I'm trying to do. They're just not interested anymore in talking to you because they've either got too many people already approach them on daily basis and they're like, oh, this is one of the other guys who's just approaching it.
Yeah.
So
that's where so that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
That is the hardest part. But once you cracked it, you build some credibility, you go from like one person to another.
Yeah,
eventually get to a place where
referral works.
Referrals, and also in this regulated space where you need connections with this insurance company, because you're not the insurer.
Yeah.
You need to work with multiple insurance companies. You're not just pitching to investors.
Yeah.
That's just the stepping stone.
Yeah.
Who you're pitching to is also insurance companies.
And also I think then if you have one or two companies onboarded, then in your mind you're thinking, what if I don't have 5 or 6? Then the companies who we're selling into, they might just go, you know what, you've only got 2 providers.
Why? Your optionality is nothing.
Yeah. So you're really on a very thin ice where you're just making sure that everything goes as per plan. Otherwise, it's all gonna break down.
Absolutely. First few days, the first 30 days, as you're asking, the two sides of the company are working towards 2 different things in parallel.
Yeah.
One's working towards building a
product
expansion and relationship between these companies, insurance companies. The other side is working towards building the product.
Yeah.
And to build this product, obviously you need a team.
Yeah.
You need engineers.
Yeah. I think we can do this podcast, I think, for forever, because we can get quite technical into what if you didn't get the insurance companies, but you have the product built already. But look, let's not get into the nitty-gritty of the things. So now you have the product built, you have the insurance companies onboarded. Like, what happens to the founders? Like, salaries are also decided by these VCs that, look, you guys are only going to draw out this much salary because, or this is more like, then you have some autonomy from there.
No, I don't think so.
I know it's a personal thing. I'm not asking for exact salary, but I'm just trying to understand the methodology behind it.
Yeah. There's the right balance between being able to survive on a bare minimum.
Yeah.
Underpaying yourself for the sake of it. Striking the right balance between the bare minimum, not even the market. We've just raised pre-seed money.
Yeah.
You can't be going around paying yourself 80-90 grand because
you have money. Yeah.
At the very least, that's what you can get in the market. At the very least, for the easiest job ever,
Yeah.
You, in the beginning of the journey, you end up paying yourself just how much you can barely survive month to month.
Yeah.
Right? there is that, and it's not that the VCs don't ask you about how much you're paying yourself.
Yeah. They want to know everything essentially.
Of course, I mean they're the part. They own the
company.
They own the part of the company. They want to know, right?
But when you're doing it in pre-seed, just I think again for people, I think we're gonna touch base on most important things. In pre-seed, they look for a lot more share in your company because you have an idea rather than a product that's been built and that's out in the market. So what is the percentage? Let's say if you had a pre-seed money only with a pitch deck, or somebody who has a product built, what is the percentage? So if somebody had given you 2 million for pre-seed and somebody gave 2 with the product. Like you have to give up 10% here and 30% here. Is it like 20-30% delta between these two?
It's really about your negotiating capabilities.
Yeah.
Right? अगर आप ये भी कर सकते हो कि खुद के पैसों से ना
you can build a prototype of the product. Yeah.
And वो इस पे भी डिपेंड करता है ना कि टाइमिंग क्या है मार्केट में. Market's good, market's bad. If the market's bad and you're going for even a Series A, you probably get shit valuation.
Yeah.
Right?
I think the market was hot at your time, right?
The market was.
So you pitched in, you got into it at a very good time.
Yeah, we got into a very good time, but it wasn't that we were not negotiating.
Yeah. You still had to negotiate.
And when we launched, because we were not selling it, because we still hadn't built it.
Yeah.
A main investment was in getting the right team of engineers to build it.
Yeah.
That's where your first sort of.
And how long did it take you from your idea to building the product?
January we raised.
Yeah.
Idea was in October.
Yeah.
Research. Get to January.
Yeah.
Raise, use the money, go out. Hiring. Get the best people.
Yeah.
And from then to October, with ton of regulatory hurdles.
Yeah.
People not wanting to talk to insurance companies, not wanting to talk to you, etc., and then insurance companies are very slow.
Yeah, of course.
They're very
lot
slow.
of bureaucracy.
Even if they shake hands with you, it's going to take them months to actually get there. Get to something.
Yeah. So the product was built in October.
October is when we launched.
You launched.
Yeah.
Okay. And obviously you already, because you guys had already all worked in startup and Luke was kind of CEO, so he already had connection in a way that while you were building it, you already had like customers who were looking to get on board, like they were on waiting list, or what was it?
Well, it's easy to say.
Yeah.
But we had opened a waiting list, but there was nobody on the waiting list.
Okay.
The first few customers that you onboard are obviously your friendlies, the people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right?
Low hanging fruits.
People that you know, you reach out to them, hey, do you want to do, we'll give you a discount, we'll give it to you for free, etc.
Yeah.
Like try it, test it, give us good
to build a use case.
Whatever. Yeah. Tell us, does this even work?
Yeah.
Right?
How come, like, so, I'm asking for VC funding, but there were a lot of like these local national fundings, right, from your Enterprise Ireland. Did you guys use any of those fundings as well?
I don't think so, no.
Your idea was that big that small money wouldn't have gone that far,
well,
right?
The previous company that I worked with and the one that Luke founded, he had already raised money from Enterprise, but I don't want to go too deep here. We can go forever. But Enterprise Ireland will put you in a situation where VCs will back off from backing you.
Yeah, because they look for a lot more equity than you would have.
The structure isn't what suits the VC.
Yeah, cool. So you have the product, you're getting, in October, you're getting people to use it, or your friends and your referrals. After how long do you start to get feedback like, look, product isn't working, or product is working, and then you get really motivated? So during, like, regulatory is a failure. I know how the regulation can be cumbersome, but then once you build the product, then was a lot of bug, because I know any tech product has, all I hear is bug. So the product built, customer using it, what was the feedback, initial feedback?
Obviously, bugs exist in any system that is built, fresh and hot. That was lesser of a concern. But I remember we got our first customer, right? Well, the first customers were ourselves. Because we told everybody, everyone gets pensions and health insurance only when we finish building.
Yeah.
Right? So we were the first customers. Well, like, because we've seen that, even before going live, we've seen it. You're like, oh fuck, this is fantastic, right?
Yeah.
Wow, what a thing that we built.
Yeah.
You get your first real customer.
Yeah. I don't think you can share your, because it's not a public. Yeah. Okay.
You get your first real customer.
Yeah.
And then it won't take you 30 minutes to realize what you built wouldn't work.
Okay. Yeah.
30 minutes, not 1, 2, 3 months.
Yeah.
Right?
So you start getting feedback instantly, because if somebody's paying for your product, they have complete right to voice their issues.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But anyway, so you get bugs again, you work through that, etc. When did you get that first feeling ki, dude, we have killed it? Like, that means we started, like, was there like a snowball effect where one customer, two customers using it, and then you just start getting a lot more?
I don't think, if I said that even today, after 3 years, if I said we already know what we're doing and we've killed it, I'd be lying to you. I'd be lying to you and your 5,000 followers. It'd be a blunt lie. No, it will take longer. It'll take longer, because it's not that we're building one product, right? We release the product with just health insurance. In Ireland. We've made fair share of mistakes, and we've cracked the Irish health insurance market. We know where we have to get to, what are the feature set required. The obvious next thing is expansion. Going into UK. The market's completely different. Then you're expanding into 31 other countries where the whole ask and what they ask you is completely different. So you're always learning.
But then, you're kind of going through this regulation in each and every country, and then trying to kind of onboard. But look, so I think it's interesting, and then that I don't think anybody is building a Google product or a Facebook where customers are going to flow in themselves, right? It's still that AI. It's not an open AI. You still need to go and pitch it. When did that Forbes Under30 for your company happen? Like, was that like, were you not expecting it, or you had to put what happens? You have to put an application in saying that we want to be considered for it, or this is something they kind of find you rather?
Well, the way Forbes work is people nominate you. And then you put in, it's not like you don't put an application at all. Everybody that I know puts in an application. Every entrepreneur out there puts in an application for Forbes 30 under 30. It's a basic application. Right? Everyone puts in without anything much. And you don't put in because you want to be that. Right? The reason you are Forbes under 30 under 30, you apply for it, not for yourself. It's because
your company will get some more visibility, right?
Your company gets a bit of PR.
Right?
That's the only reason. But
then they still also have some criteria as to why they select you. Not everybody just gets selected for the sake of it, right?
No, absolutely. I mean, they do recognize what you're doing. They do recognize that you're not building a to-do list application. They're not building the hundreds of food ordering companies. You're just building one more food ordering company.
True. It's like an innovative idea, or amazing.
And it's not just that. With your application, you're also putting in referrals. And those people have to nominate you. They need to be a credible source. They need to be credible people in the market. Who, if they back you up,
then you have much better chance.
Correct.
But you know what? I'm gonna ask you something which may sound like an interview question. I'm gonna put you as if you're interviewing here. What is the one failure in the first year, and what did you learn from it, right? That's the only thing we're going to do non-candid, and it's more like a...
I can tell you 50 different failures in the first month.
But biggest one where you thought, you know what, the company is finished now. I don't think we can proceed any further.
No, I don't think we've ever had that
major breakdown.
Well, we had. We've had major breakdowns week after week after week. If we didn't have a major breakdown for a week, we'd go out and celebrate. Every week is a major breakdown. Like every week, like when you start in the beginning, it feels like the company is over. It's done. You can't go from there. But we've gotten to a point right now that no matter what happens,
you can't back out now.
We can't back out, and we'll always overcome that situation.
So what was there any one that you remember, and you were all like getting into like a Biden war situation room?
The first major one. We're all set to launch. We don't have approval from central bank, and we're not expecting it anytime soon. So you want to be tight intermediary of a broker that has experience and who watches us. We're almost launching, and everything's out, PR's out, we talk to customers, so and so. Now these customers, they might also have to end their already existing group scheme and move.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There's stakes, right, on the line. Now, the broker just wouldn't reply to us.
Yeah.
And just pulls out.
Yeah.
Says, I can't do this.
Yeah.
How do you get into a regulatory space selling a regulated product
without a broker,
without being tied to someone? Like, the contract wasn't fully signed. Like, everything was positive. Like, the contract wasn't signed. That was like, what do we do now?
Yeah.
And this is when on a Friday evening, we are sitting in IFSC in a pub having a few pints because we worked very, very hard for 8 months.
Yeah.
And it's the day of launch, or just a week before launch, or 2 weeks into launch, and this is what happens.
Okay.
You get an email saying, can't go further.
Oh God. Okay. So what? You already had alternatives who you had already been speaking to, not only this guy, and then you kind of approach them, or was it like
you had to go through each and every contact of yours? Luke and Patrick. I'm gonna be very honest about it. I wasn't as involved in this in terms of like pulling all sort of strings.
Yeah.
I tried my best, but like my contacts reaches only so far.
Yeah.
They tried to get everyone involved, did everything, pulled some strings.
Yeah.
And
you were able to. Okay, very good.
We had someone. But yeah, there were a lot of times when it seemed like this is the end.
Yeah. But it's not. Like, I think
it's not.
If you look at it retrospectively, I think you've learned probably something from it, right? That you should always have a plan B if one fails.
Absolutely.
I think that's the kind of learning, right?
Absolutely.
So, what's next? Like, I mean, you think you have, like, I know you're kind of trying to onboard. Like, before we even say that what's next, maybe I think for the audience, you want to maybe just tell them a little bit about what Kota is, because I think we've gone through the whole podcast but not knowing which company you represent or what do they do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was waiting for this one.
Yeah, okay. It's the most difficult one, right? You don't know what they do till
I'm still trying to figure out what Kota does, but no, jokes aside, in all seriousness, what we do, and there's a problem that myself, Luke, Patrick all faced. Setting up an employee group scheme for health insurance or pensions, etc. Why is it so old school? Why do I need a broker, a traditional broker that has to do all the filling? Why do I need to talk to 3 different brokers? And not retail, I'm talking about setting up group
scheme,
corporate scheme,
occupational schemes,
occupational schemes. Why does it take so long? We wanted to completely bring this industry and make the experience really such a product-based experience that you can cut all the insurers. You don't have to talk to insurers. You don't have to talk to brokers. You don't have to sign applications. Nothing. And make it an experience just like Revolut. For example, you come in, you sign up, you set up your group schemes. You as an employer, obviously, you don't even have to think about talking to brokers, procuring the best plans, etc. All you need to worry about is how much do I want to set aside for my employees' health insurance each month. Or if you're a little more serious, which plan do I want to give? Which set of plans do I want to give? It's on to employee that they download the mobile application, log in, and pick the plan that is correct for them. Now, employer might decide to give an 80% towards that, or a flat 150. If your plan is less than 150, fine, the employer pays for it. If you want a plan that's more expensive, say 200, employer pays 150. The rest
and that's all automated within your system?
Absolutely. What we do is we connect with your HRIS software, like your Bamboo HR, like your Personio, etc. Whatever HRIS software, your Workday. Anytime an employer or an employee joins the company, our system automatically sends them, hey, this is your pension package, this is your health package.
Right?
Okay. You're added automatically on day one of your employment, you get your health insurance, pensions, all automated, everything, and we just make the experience whole easy for them.
I think one last thing. I think the key thing that the key takeaway I think I want people to kind of take from this overall is, when you're a student, I think first of all you're thinking is I need a full-time job and I need money coming into my pocket. You're always, especially when you're an immigrant, right? Because not only you're trying to start up a business, you may have an idea, it's going to be successful, but there are other, the other limitations in terms of visa or that can, jeopardize the journey that you're trying to get onto. So like, how do you think like people who are in a situation where they have a good idea, they are just started their corporate career, like what message can we give them? Like, do you think is it too early, too late, or should they go through that?
It might be too early for a few things.
Yeah.
It might not be too early for the right thing. When I say this, say you have an idea, you really are passionate about it. Either start building it, work towards it, weekends, after work hours, do whatever you want, or depending on what side of business you want to be in. Join a startup. Join a startup.
Join a startup.
Join a startup. Spend a year, spend 2 years. Try to understand different parts of the business, how people do things, how you give up, at what point you give up, what point you pivot, what point you don't. Right? I think that's very important. I think everybody must start that.
Everybody starts getting to startup.
Right tomorrow, quit your 9-to-5 job, quit your corporate. If you're working in these big companies, Deloitte, EY, PwC, etc. Like, listen, there's very few places you can get to. Join a startup.
What do you call a startup? Like, just to be on the safe side, like with 1 to 10 people, 1 to 100?
Right, okay. Good question, fantastic. Anything more than 1 or 2 people is a startup.
Okay.
1 or 2 very passionate people that won't give up no matter what is a startup. That's my definition. Anything less than a 200% company called a startup. After that, after 200%, the speed slightly reduces. But if you want to start something of your own, you don't want to know what 200% company looks like. You want to know what a 5, 10, 20, 30% company looks like.
This is where you can really see the failures, really learn from like a first-hand experience as to what the challenges this company face. Cool. Look, I think as I said, look, if we go into nitty-gritty, we can just go on forever. But thank you, Deepak, for coming, and hopefully people will learn something from it in a way, that startup is a difficult place, but somehow there is a reward at the end of it as well.
Absolutely.
So we'll talk about the reward next time. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.